Okay, I'll go ahead and call the meeting back to order and announce that no action was taken in closed session. At this time, we'll take back up the public discussion of item 4. Mr. Adams, I'll recognize him to talk a little bit about our sales tax projections and financing options.
Yes, sir. So where we left off, what's on the screen, what's also under item 4 in your package is just a reminder where Mr. Buchanan left off as far as the total amount needed to proceed forward with these safety projects is $7,409,447, which should be on the screen, and you have that in your package. If you want to go ahead and switch over to the sales tax, I had passed out information regarding sales tax to the board. And I just want to go over that and briefly discuss that. I'll grab this. So what you have, I had Ms. Arlene Fox update our sales tax information, and our sales tax information is actually extremely good news, not only for the mandated portion that goes to the school, but also for the county as a whole. And so what you have here is a summary sheet that basically goes over this, the Articles 46 sales tax and Articles 40 and 42. But what I'm going to do too, I'm not going to go over the details. We have detailed information in here. If you go to the second page, well, I will go over it a little bit. I did point out to you, the second page is the Articles 40 and 42 sales tax detail. So what I'd like to do is just remind the board and remind the public, these 2 half-cent sales tax, 40% of Article 40, and it says it right here on your detail, and 60% of Article 42 is mandated to go to the school systems for capital purposes. Those funds can only be expended with the agreement between the Board of Commissioners and the Board of Education. So what we had is Darlene go through and do the projections of this sales tax, not only for the final of 1920, but the final of 2021, which we just completed. And you can see here 21-22. And ultimately, I just wanted to point out to you where where I'm scrolling here. This is all the ongoing expenses that I've seen that we are taking into consideration that's being budgeted annually. The next page is the Article 46 sales tax detail information. That is the quarter-cent sales tax that was passed by referendum by the voters of this county. This is dedicated for educational purposes at the discretion of the Board of Commissioners. The initial funds expended for this project went to the SCC Health Sciences building. And I know you know all this. This is as much for the public as it is for the board. And so I just did want to point out, as you can see in these first columns here, it's really describing the expenses that occurred with the SCC building. And then you can ultimately start seeing the 1920, the 2021, and the 21-22 fund balances there. And now what I'm going to do is basically scroll back. That is detailed information for the board and for the public. I'll scroll back to the first page. And what you're seeing is just a summary of total funds available for educational capital purposes. And you can see at the end of fiscal year 2022, there between these 2 funds is projected there'll be $7,281,704 available for educational capital purposes. And you can see if you go to the next fiscal year, which is starts about a year from now, a little less than a year from now, you can see obviously that fund builds to $10 million that next year. So in regards to capacity to move forward with these safety projects, my conversations with Mr. Buchanan and the school systems, we believe this project would run over more than 1 fiscal year. So there is the ability to fund this project. It would obviously take up all of our capital capacity in regards to major construction items. I believe you heard Mr. Buchanan state that this is a priority project for the Board of Education, and they understand that this could delay other priorities that they have as far as capital projects. At the end of the day, the funds available, the choices before this board are twofold. If the board wishes to proceed forward with the request from the Board of Education for these safety projects, then the action from you would be to vote to dedicate to agree to utilize the Articles 40 and 42 sales tax for this purpose, and then dedicate the remaining amounts in the Article 46 sales tax to also go towards this purpose. And that would be the decision that would need to come from this board. That would be the one choice. The other choice is to basically delay the project and try to rebid it at a later time. And that's really two choices.
And so, in essence, summarizing what you're saying, we need to take action either yes or no, yes or delay at the 20th.
Yes, sir. Just a reminder, and I don't know if we discussed this in our open session, that after the bids were received, that we have 30 days in accordance with the bidding procedures to either move forward and agree with the low bid and to start working on the contract, or I believe there could be financial consequences if we wait later.
Any questions about the process? Obviously, this will be on the agenda for the 20th.
Yes, sir.
To give us a chance to think about this over the next week and then make our final vote on the 20th.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to need.
What?
I'm trying to get the other part of the agenda back up.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or comments, questions for our school board, school administration folks that are here with us?
No, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you so much for your hard work.
Thank y'all. All right, we'll move on to the next topic. I think we're going to other business, and we'll move rather quickly through these items to see if we can conclude them.
All right. Really, just to provide information, we are beginning. Let me pull this information up myself. If you go to attachment 5A, try to provide this to you in writing, and also you can go online and access it digitally. We are starting back up the Jackson County Citizens Academy. We have Ms. Tucker, who is going to help lead the way in that endeavor. And so wanted to provide you information regarding that. You can see there's a summary. It is a 8-week course beginning Thursday, September 9th at 5:30 p.m. And I do want to remind everybody on that particular meeting, that is the introduction meeting, and that's also the meeting. I got the schedule here that if you as a commissioner want to come and welcome them, the Citizens Academy, whoever is participating, to please come and attend and just say hello to the people. What we've also included in your packets, it's an 8-week course that will go through, September 9th, it'll start September 9th and it'll go through, what's the last date there? October 28th. What we do have included in here is just additional information in regards to application deadline. We are putting the application online, and we would like for people to try to get the applications to us by August 12th. We'll finalize participants August 17th and notify them August 18th. And obviously we would start this program September 9th. I've asked Ms. Tucker to reach out to all of our graduates, and that is actually some of our best source for new applicants. They're the ones who can tell everybody how good they like it and so forth. Plus, commissioners, please go out and see if you got anybody interested to participate.
Is there a limit on how many people can use this?
We try to do around 25 participants.
25, okay.
Yes. 25. Yes. And then
I'm excited to see it start back.
yes, sir. And it's just
such a great.
You're a graduate.
I'm
of the
a
program.
graduate.
what's included. This is online too. So I provided this to you. So if you're talking to somebody, you can go online, and it provides information about the time commitment. It provides information what we're attempting to do. Also provides you general information of who you will be visiting, what day you'll be visiting, all of that. Just trying to give you enough information that you can help promote this item along with staff and former graduates.
This is an informational item only for today's purposes,
Yes.
and it requires no further action on it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fire coordinator position.
Yes, sir. This is something that Commissioner Dietz had mentioned and we had discussed prior to passing the budget. This is in regard to the additional fire coordinator position that was created. I know this is so what I did was I know Commissioner Dietz, I think your question or what you're asking is whether or not this would provide more coverage to the county, meaning what are they gonna do with these additional, do you recall, for the fire service coordinator
I'm
position?
trying to remember what I.
Well, I think,
If they're sitting there together or if they're broadening their time that they would cover service.
it's
Or
so,
alternating times. Isn't that what?
if you remember, we were trying to figure out whether or
Yeah, I
not,
remember, we talked about whether we got two people standing there all day.
and so what,
I'm sure we got one coming for a while working and another one coming to work for a while. Is this a job or is this just something we're paying somebody money?
what,
Hell, that's what it's about.
what I did was I'd asked, our fire marshal, Mr. Forbes, to go out and ask each of the fire departments to provide us a summary of what their intentions are, and that's what you have in front of you.
And I did email mine in late from Balsam. It's not included here, but I can speak to that one if I need to.
Okay, and so, this is just something that I told you, Commissioner Deeds, I would bring back at this meeting for discussion. And so I think the general theme you can see from Savannah Fire Department, Silva Fire Department, and Qualla Fire Department, I think most of them are going to have these individuals working standard work weeks, Monday through Friday, with the idea of two things: having more coverage during the work week. It's general terms. I mean, they're saying the same thing, but saying a little different. They would have more coverage. Remember, we have to be careful with this conversation because they're not there to be firemen, they're to be administrative support and support around the house, but they will be there physically Monday through Friday. Very little variations of 7 to 4 or 8 to 5. And they would be available to take off of county time and then and volunteer for calls. And then the second justification for that, they wanted to have the coverage there during normal hours during the week. But I think you also see a theme that it takes two people when you're moving fire hoses around, when you're doing certain things in the firehouse itself. I think you see a theme from those, from Savannah, Silva, and Qualla that there are items around the firehouse that it takes two people to do. Now, County Fire Department, you can see that bottom sentence there, work days and hours will vary. And I don't know if you remember, Commissioner Deeds, I said that I recall one fire department when we were around talking about that they may try to vary their hours a little bit. And you can see that the goal is to give some coverage in our community 7 days a week with 10-hour work days. So I think they're going to attempt, we have to keep these employees within a 40-hour work week.
Right.
So they're going to attempt to maybe shift around a little bit with 10-hour work days. That'll be dictated on whether or not you can get employees to work for 40 hours. There'll be some more conversations, but I do think the intent for Canada was to spread it out over 7 days. And then Balsam, I didn't have a chance to get that email. So,
And let me,
Well, he's sitting up there.
yeah, and let me speak about Canada because I think Canada's a unique situation. Canada, they're way out there.
Oh, my.
And so their ambulance is responding from Silva, so we're talking about sometimes there's could be as much as a 45-minute response time for paramedic level ambulance. So they already have on staff, their paid person now is an EMT certified staff. Potentially the person they're looking to pick up could be an EMT, and their goal is to try to have an EMT person at that station 7 days a week, so that would be somebody medically trained to respond in that community, to be available. So I thought that was a good utilization of that resource because of the conditions that are where they're at.
Well, and they need that, but
Well,
it's
it
a
is.
45-minute window.
Now, for
That's a lot. That's too
example,
long.
at Balsam, we're less than 5 minutes from the hospital. I mean, that's not as big a deal for us from an ambulance standpoint because we're so close. And I ran our call totals, 1 year of calls, we run 243 calls. 63% of those calls we ran between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So only 27% then were in the evening hours or at night. The vast majority of those were before midnight. So our thought was to divide that up to where we've had full coverage during the day from those times where we have the most peak in our calls, to make sure that we have coverage during those daytime hours. And then like it's been mentioned, I think the common theme, like, for example, Wednesday, we will do, this week on Wednesday, we'll do hose testing and ladder testing. I will have to take a day off from work because that's not a one-man job. Chuck has to have help to be able to do that because you can't shuttle truck. We can't do any of that testing at the station. It's all done by a vendor at a remote location. And so I'll have to take a day off from work, or somebody else takes a day off so that we can go help do that, because you've got to shuttle trucks, you've got to pack hose, and it's a huge undertaking. So that's where being able to utilize 2 people at one time sometimes will be a great benefit.
So is those 2 gonna be there at the same hours all day long?
There will be an overlap. There'll be times
So
where they're
somebody's
there
gonna come in
together.
at 7 and work to
Could be
3?
7 to 3, and then it could be 3 to 11. It could be,
I know it could be, is it gonna be?
well, it's flexible. It depends on what's going on. On a
Yeah.
day like
And then how
Wednesday,
about Saturdays and Sundays? What happens there?
well, it just depends. It depends on the weekend, what's going
I mean,
on.
what was your calls on Saturdays and Sundays?
I don't have the breakdown for exactly Saturdays and Sundays. This was just an average through the week. But usually the thought is most people work a traditional job Monday through Friday. Most people are tied up during the daytime hours, and we have the least number of availabilities. In the
Yes, that's
evenings, at night, weekends, we have more flexibility.
More volunteers.
So if you have a medical call during the middle of the day and you need at least 2 people to respond, then you've got 2 people. But I think that's what I read when I read through these, that there's some flexibility. If we've got storms coming, if we got whatever's going, we could change these hours and people could be an all weekend thing. If it's a holiday weekend, it'd be Memorial Day weekend. We know we have a lot of motorcycle wrecks on the parkway. Could be that that weekend, both guys work that weekend, as opposed to working during the week.
Depends on what the good Lord dishes out to us. Pretty much. There's no
But for us, that was our biggest times are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Thank you.
I should think it would be bigger, but that's good.
Any other thoughts or comments?
Thank you for getting this information.
I'll pass that along to Mr. Forbes.
Yeah.
It was,
Thank you.
he went out and did his
Because this is
survey.
helpful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You ready?
C is the Conrad Borough. I know Commissioner Jones is going to work on trying to finalize. Have you been able to secure an additional letter? And
I can answer that, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we got a support letter from the Cashiers Chamber of Commerce, which has 470 members in that organization. And we have one from SCC, one from the family, and have also been able to get the $2,000 required payment for the marker. And that, which starts in Commissioner Stridland's area and runs through District 4.
so this is an item that would be ready to be moved on to a regular agenda in the future.
Yes, sir.
I think there's one other item that there has been, I'm sorry if you said this, but I believe that you've secured a donation, or there has been a donation secured for the 2,000.
Yes, sir.
Did you?
Yeah, he said that.
I apologize. I was doing that.
Who's that from?
Graham County Land Company.
That's Jimmy. What's his name?
Johnny.
Johnny.
Yes, sir. Johnny Phillips Company. Or one of the LLCs of that company.
That's it.
All right, well, we'll look to put that one on a future agenda for further discussion. Other updates, let me hand this out right quick. This is what I referenced earlier. The Medicaid, I know
Yeah.
Commissioner Deets had a conversation with Mr. Cooper a couple of days ago, I guess it was. And then I had a conversation with him, and our plan is to try to have Casey Cooper with Cherokee Indian Hospital here on the 20th. And hopefully Steve Heatherly will be here in addition. I know Swain County Board of Commissioners in the last couple of weeks adopted this sample resolution. And so this is something that they wanted us to go ahead and have in advance and be reading and studying and thinking about, and then they'll speak to this in more detail on the 20th when he's here.
Okay.
Mr. Striblin, do you have anything today? Any additional items that you want to consider?
No, sir.
Talk about? Mr. Jones?
Actually, I do, just information, exciting information, actually. You get pulled up.
Give us something exciting.
Very positive. I'm gonna read it. This came out yesterday.
Okay.
Some of you may got an email on this regarding SCC's free tuition for this upcoming academic year. Through a one-time program, Southwestern Community College will not charge tuition or fees to students for the 21-22 academic year. The SCC Promise initiative provides new students as well as those who have already enrolled with free tuition and fees this fall if they fulfill the following criteria. Complete the 21-22 free application for federal student aid, enroll in a minimum of 6 hours, complete the SCC Promise application. So I just encourage, if you know anybody, particularly with the health science building to open up,
Yeah.
we can reach out to our neighbors. That age is not a issue here. So 6 hours is the minimum, free tuition for a year. What better way to come out of COVID and jumpstart our communities,
Right.
3 counties.
Absolutely. Great.
That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Woody, you have some items?
I do. Just a couple things for your calendars. Monday, July 26th at 5:30, the Southwest Commission holds their annual celebration, and it's a barbecue dinner. It will be in Franklin, location to be announced. And your spouses are welcome to come. And well, Ronnie Beal was inviting people. I don't know that he's cooking,
Okay.
but it's going to be a location to be announced. So that's Monday, July 26th at 5:30. And then this Friday, Western Carolina University is hosting the Community Partnership Networking Day, which you had suggested that we have a entity do, and Dr. Kelly Brown is hosting this, and we're excited about it. And if I'm going, and if anyone else wants to go, let me know, because they do want to know about lunch. It's from 8:30 to 2 Friday, this Friday at Western Carolina University Grand Room. And then the last thing is July 26th and 28th. Oh, I'm sorry. The 26th is the date, that's a Tuesday, for the dedication of the Dr. Jerry Wolf Memorial Highway.
What was
And
the time?
their time has not been set
Okay.
yet.
I hadn't heard the time.
I hadn't heard the time, but did you hear anything more about the specific time? The 26th is the day, but then there's 28th is the rain delay. Angie had that time, but I'll find out and email y'all. And then the last thing, this one, one of the people from Western asked me if they wanted the participants of this Community Partnership Networking Day to be asked what their financial need would be in light of the fact that at some point we will have some of this ARP money available for them to do a grant. You know, we had talked about this. Do we want to survey while those people are all together, just a real simple thing? What would be your request for money? How would you use it?
So,
Just so we'd have something to start with, or no?
so I was planning on putting this, what's the day? I was planning on putting this issue back. This is going to be on the August
Okay,
work session.
okay.
And so,
Well, it's Friday is the meeting,
this
when
comes-
everyone's going to be together.
Well, maybe we could just say we're going to have these funds available and it'd be a grant request process.
Because
RFP
Make it apply.
process.
Make it apply.
Request for
Okay.
proposals process.
All right, so you're okay with me mentioning that?
Yeah, and so
Okay.
I think the
Yeah.
key to that is just to remind everybody
Okay,
that there will be rules associated with the funds
yes,
as it relates to the ARP monies. And that's what really has to be put together is requests for proposals that do that. Now, having said that, remember, I've said this multiple times, if they're going down a human services route, okay, if that's what their purpose is, then the rules, I wouldn't say lapse, but they've automatically associated those purposes with COVID issues. But if they're not as human services, and I don't know if you want to go into this detail or not, then there will be rules associated with these funds. And
Well,
we just have to put
yeah.
that together.
When they asked me about it, I said, one thing I know is that it would have to be serving Jackson County residents,
Correct.
because every county is getting this money. And that ours would be definitely designated for use of serving Jackson County residents.
But I think
Because some of these are multi-county.
and actually, the guidance we're getting on that is going to be a requirement.
Yes.
It's not
No,
it's
it's not
not
a,
a decision by Jackson County. It's a requirement of these federal funds.
I would make,
So
yeah.
in general terms, yes, what I'm going to be bringing
Okay.
to you in the August work session
Okay.
is permission to start getting permission to start developing a request for proposal process
okay,
for nonprofits.
okay,
Yes.
good, that's it.
Okay, Commissioner Deets, anything to that?
I do know.
Okay, absolutely. Well, that brings us to the end. Item E, adjourn.
Do you want to go Friday?
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Is there a second? All in favor, say aye.
Who has got those community network